Chelsea weren't very good last season, but luckily Xabi Alonso's here to make it all better. But what will they actually look like? Well, Xabi Alonso's kind of already told us. He says, we'll be flexible in our tactics, in our approach, in our game plans. We have our principles. What we want could be the same, but we have tried and we will try different ideas. It's about updating and developing, something they have done with new concepts, which each manager has. And if we look at the Chelsea 11, we can see a bunch of different options that he has. It's probably going to be this kind of 4-2-3-1 because it's a modern kind of football he wants to play, and that means mostly out of possession, 4-4-2. You show the ball wide, and then when the ball goes backwards, you push up and you go man-to-man. That's probably what they're going to do. We've already seen that in pre-season as well. But also what you have is different options in build-up, in how you build through the lines, how you get the ball forward, because he's got lots of different players and different ways of playing. So at Bayer Leverkusen, obviously he played a 3-4-3. Everyone knows all about this. At Real Madrid, it was more the 4-4-2. You had to cater for certain players, especially Vinicius Jr. and Mbappe. But at Chelsea, we'll look at the back four now. This is just an example of what they could play. So the Choir played in the middle of a back three for Crystal Palace last season. So they could do that sort of thing here. But we'll start with the back four because that's what they've gone with. Heto can play inside. He can go on the outside. So you've got lots of options of how to get the ball forward. Reece James can play in midfield. He can be a third centre back. So again, a back four might become a back three really quickly. Same way if they start with a back three, it might look like a back three on paper, especially if they put like new signing Palestra in here. Because then you can play your wing backs. You've got Gusto here. You might have Palestra here. They can get forward, but it's all about how you defend. So when they defend, they're probably going to still be always in a two. Then the wing backs push forward and be your wingers, so they're more like wingers. Then the other players have to cover different places. You're going to have lots of different shapes, lots of different players moving in and out of different formations. But it's interesting that Alonso talks about being modern and having principles, because what I think he wants to do is to be able to adapt between different shapes, different ways of playing in game. So sometimes you'll have the wingers staying really wide so you can have underlapping runs, try and stretch the opposition defence. A lot of the time you'll have them getting really close and you'll have underlapping runs from a fullback or a wing back, because it might be Reece James that plays, but if James plays, probably like we say, he'll move into midfield or be part of a back three. If it's Palestra, the new signing, he'll get forward and give you the width there, so Estevao can move inside. But they've also got new signings like Danny Welbeck. So for instance, what they might do in certain situations is if Rodgers is not playing, or say he's off the bench here, you can play Welbeck through the middle as an extra striker, you can play him wide. And one of the things they might do is that when they're trying to build up, they'll go nice and wide, something like this, which then pushes the opposition up, that's what happens. And so then what you get as they go like this, you go man-to-man, zonal to man-to-man, you'll have the two strikers, Pedro and Palmer will drop in to offer solutions, the centre-backs might follow them out, and that means you get out-to-in runs from these sorts of players. Welbeck especially could do this sort of thing. And because Welbeck's a bit bigger, when you do eventually play long over the top, he's the kind of player that can win it, you can knock it down, you can get second balls, you can play with that. And I think the idea is that lots of players take up different positions and have different ways and connections. Sometimes they'll be close together, sometimes they'll be far apart, but they'll always make sure they're compact out of possession and make sure they push the opposition back, and they make sure they create with short passes and then counter press if they lose it high up the pitch. So that's what I think we're going to see. Really adaptable, very flexible, both in-game and between games. They're going to have their principles stuck on. They want to keep the ball, they want to be active and put pressure on the other team. A very modern way of playing, but it borrows a lot from different managers. There's bits of Guardiola in there, there's bits of Mourinho, there's bits of everyone that's sitting in there that Alonso's played under. But what you see here, you already see them in pre-season, are certain things in place that might show us where they're going to go with it. So they played with a back four in this game against Western Sydney Wanderers. Now, a lot of the kids are playing in this game, and one of them is very impressive, Reggie Watson, son of Ben. He was playing in the sixth kind of pivot role. I thought he was excellent in this game. Might see him in the squad this season. But when they go backwards, as what happens in all games now, very modern football, most teams, they press in this kind of zonal shape. It's like a 4-4-2 zonal. I mean, what do you do in the situation? Do you find solutions by going long over the top? Do you play through it? It looks like Alonso wants to play through it. They go backwards, they work the ball back to the goalkeeper, they work the ball wide, they're pulling the press apart, they play it wide to one of the young debutants there, tucks it inside. The ball then is just moved constantly. They're moving players around, they're dragging players out of position, manipulating the opposition like we said they thought they would do, which creates space for other players. Then a winger drops in to make sure there's loads of space here to turn into. Really good 1-2 touch play, and it's very vertical. The ball's just played straight forward. And this player who's running forward is Satpayev, is one of the young players that they've just signed. He plays as a trialist in this game. He's a left winger. So you see that out-to-in run we're talking about with Danny Welbeck? That's the sort of thing they're going to try and do, is play vertical when they can. But equally, in this same game, there were times when they're not trying to be vertical because their team won't let them do it. So they keep the ball, they move it around. They're also playing it long to Liam Delap quite a lot, who would drop and then they play off the second ball. Really flexible, there's no set way. You can't just set up in one way against them. And if you do, I think you'll find solutions within game to try and move things around. And from game to game, you've got different players, which give you different solutions. So what is it that held Chelsea back if they have all these solutions? What's wrong with them? Well, we can look at what happened last season. So they finished 10th. Now that is obviously not very good. Certainly not for Chelsea, with all the money they spent, my word. But also, they lost a lot of points from winning game states last season. So they're 6th for that. They dropped 19 points from winning states. Equally, they gained the 8th most points from losing states. It's a really odd team. It's really inconsistent. But when you look at the squad and what they had before going to this season, what you see is a lot of young players. But what you don't see is anyone in this part of the graphic. Look, there's absolutely no one in this side in the age bit. So there's no one above the age of, what is it, 28, 29? That's a really important part of your squad. The culture basically is what needs to be fixed. Everyone's too young. Young players are notoriously inconsistent around football. You've got a good core of prime age players that are playing. That's good, but you want players here. And Kukurea talked about this last season. He's obviously gone now, but he said, we've got a good core of players, the foundations are there, but to fight for major trophies like the Premier League or the Champions League, you need more. Signing young players only might complicate achieving those goals. So it looks like Chelsea have addressed that in the transfer window immediately, bringing in Jordan Henderson. He's got lots of experience, that's what you want. Bringing in Danny Welbeck, lots of experience, that's what you want. So they're going to have more players in that peak age part. That's important for a couple of reasons. First of all, in training sessions, you want those players who are setting the standards. Everyone talks about Henderson especially. You want model professionals who are teaching the young players how to get to where they need to be. That's going to help some of their younger players develop into the players they should become. It's just a really good move. But also, Welbeck is still scoring at a high rate, and Henderson can still play at Premier League level. So they're not just going to be there to be the dads of the group. That's what they're there for. But the depth, you see, they've got like lots of players per position. A lot of these won't maybe last, and it could change. It seems to change every single hour. Every time I was preparing for this, there's new players being signed. So let's put what we probably have here. You've got lots of players who can play different positions. Penders might start, maybe it's Sanchez, not sure. Lacroix can give you a back three, like we said. Fofana started with Colwill in the pre-season games. You've got Hato, is probably the only left back. We'll come to that in a second. But you've got lots of players. So James can go inside or play on the outside, play in midfield, play centre back. Lots of options with him. Gusto can play either side as a wing back. They'll give you more options. New signing Palestra, being used very much like a right wing back. You might have remembered how Jeremy Frimpong played for Bayer Leverkusen. We'll probably see him used in that way to help press high, to help give width, but also sometimes they'll play with a back three with these guys as the back three. Sometimes it'll be the opposite way with Palestra tucking in and everyone moving around. There's lots of rotations within Alonso's system. So let's get rid of these players here. They're starting to have a nice little depth. What they don't have really is a player who's great at dropping in to receive from build-up, so maybe that's something they're looking at. Caicedo can do it. Enzo's not really the player for that. Reggie Watson was excellent in one of the games. They've brought in Valentin Barco. I think he's an excellent little player. Now, he's interesting because he can play at left back or he can play in centre midfield. I think left back makes a lot of sense because he can do the things on the outside and then come inside when they need to have those flexible adaptations within games as well. Romeo Lavia is always injured. Sugo might get a loan, something like that. Henderson's going to get some good midfield depth and keep the team spirit, the team mentality they need alive. Palmer and Rodgers can play inside these positions. Mudrik's coming back, Satpaev's there, Gittins is there. There's loads of different options. The profiles, outside, inside, players who can play together, players who are going to be able to get on with each other. Pedro can do lots of good things. Welbeck's an extra striker. Nicholas Jackson might get a chance. The depth is actually pretty good now. The only real weakness you can probably see when you look at this chart is Jorel Hato at left back. Now I could name some left backs like sensible transfers that might be useful for them. The profile just basically needs to be someone who isn't Hato. So Hato's more of an insider who can play on the outside. Or you could go for an outside attacking player, someone like Malik Diouf at West Ham. He'd be a decent option there, but very expensive. But they've already been linked with Pep Chavaria, who more like an attacking player, good at getting crosses into the box. Alonso likes to get crosses into the box, that's what you're probably going to see. And that would kind of mirror what you've got on the other side with Palestra coming in, maybe like Gusto there. So that's probably the only thing they really need to develop other than buying different players. There is a good team in there, it just needs to be turned into a team that can do what Alonso wants. And what Alonso wants, as we know, is to have his core principles. He wants to be the team that is proactive, the one in charge, the one who's pressing the opposition team, and we know that they need to improve on that because last season Chelsea had 3.6 final third regains per season, which is the 11th, so that's what they are. They're quite low down, and what Alonso wants is to be high like this. When they won the league in the Bundesliga with Leverkusen, they had the highest final third regains of any team, and loads of short passes. And so basically, what I think we'll see from Chelsea this season is a much better version. We're already seeing the out of possession principles put in place by Alonso. They should win more high regains, which is what I think he wants to do. He's got loads of options, new players like Morgan Rodgers, players that he wants, older players coming in to try and help the culture of the squad. That's exactly what they needed to do. If we're doing sensible transfers, they've already kind of made them. That's made them a lot better, I think, already. And so all we need to see now is how the players apply the things Alonso asks them to do and whether it works or not. Because at Real Madrid it wasn't perfect, but it also sort of worked at the same time. So we'll see with Chelsea. I think they'll be absolutely fine.
If you like this video, please consider subscribing to the channel. The Athletic is home to some of the world's best sports journalists, including David Ornstein, Amy Lawrence and James Horncastle. With the latest transfer news and insights on every Premier League story that matters, theathletic.com puts you inside football